What's going on, gamers? Suro here. Welcome back to the channel. Now today I'm going to show you how you can get a max armor build. This will allow you to just tank anything that the game throws at you. It is going to be super nice, but there are some methods of making a pretty decent armor build, and then I'm going to show you one that's just going to be like absolutely game breaking. So for that, you are going to have to be in the end game. Now, before we get into the video and break down this build, if you guys would kindly like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, I would really appreciate it. Now, moving on to the build, I have nothing on me. I have 0 armor. Before we put on the armor and stuff, I'm going to show you the skills that you're going to need. Over here in the running tree, down here at the bottom, this breaking barriers is going to give you plus 5% armor of current movement speed increases. So if I eat a food that has movement speed, I'm going to get 5% of that. If you haven't maxed this skill out, I think it's at 1%, and then each perk to that is going to be like an extra percent, finishing off at 5%. And now the only other skill you need is down here in the crafting tree. It is called Unbreakable. Now this is kind of situational, because how often are you really at low health? I don't know, maybe some of you are at that more than often, but it will give you a plus 30% armor. So later on in the video, I am going to have a boss damage me all the way down that low. That way we can see how much we can actually push our armor build to the maximum. So get that skill if you haven't, but it's not necessary. And then obviously if you have the crafting all the way up, it gives you plus 50% armor. And that 50% armor gives you a lot. So like this ring of rock gives me 13 armor. If I put it on, even though it's only 13 armor, it actually gives me 32 based on those skills that I just showed you. So a huge increase on that. Next, we're going to use another ring of rock. That's going to take us up to 63. And then we are going to use the polished iron chunk necklace. That gives us plus 20. So if just these 3 things and our skills boosting us, we're already at 111 armor. Next, for the gear, you want to have the scarlet gear. So we're going to put all of that on. The helmet will give you plus 12, the chest is plus 19, and the pants is plus 16. We're up to 224, but we are going to reinforce our armor. So reinforcement is going to cost you some stuff. It's going to cost 5 scrap parts and 4 scarlet bars for the helmet. It's going to give us plus 2 armor. So we're going to go ahead and reinforce the armor here. And that is taking us up to 240 armor. Up next, on your offhand, you're going to want to use the Toxic Defender. You get this from Ivy, the Poisonous Mass. She's the purple slime. If you get really lucky, that will drop for you, and we're going to put that on. So now we are up to 280 using just those skills and then these armors here. Most of the stuff is really easily obtainable, except maybe the Toxic Defender. And now we are going to move on to some of the food items. So some of the food items you can use, the black steel urchin is the best when it comes to giving you armor. And then if you can get the golden foods, definitely do that. But if you can't, just use a regular bomb pepper. So the steel urchin and the bomb pepper is going to give you this food, which will give you plus 39 armor for 5 minutes. And then we are using a movement speed food. So you can also use the bomb pepper wrap if you want, if you're just not this far. But I have the epic version of this food. It is a spirit veil and the green or golden bomb pepper. Combine those together, we'll get a plus 54% movement speed. That goes back to that skill I showed you in the running tree, plus 5% armor of current movement speed. So if I were to eat the blackstone dip snack, it's going to take me up to 375. I'm going to eat the movement speed one. It's going to take me up to 438. Now we are going to eat one of these stone skin potions. That's going to give us plus 34 armor for 1 minute. So now that we have eaten that and our armor is at 534, we are going to run up here and summon the slime boss, Glurch the Abominous Mass. That way we can actually take some damage. So we're going to drop this down, and the lower our health goes when we get close to where we're almost dead, we're actually going to get an increase in our defense as well, just because of the skill that we're using over in the crafting tree. Plus 30% armor while at low health. So I'm not sure if they're actually going to be able to defeat me. They're not doing very much work. The spiky slime's actually doing more damage. We are at okay, we dropped some armor because one of our buffs wore off already. So as soon as they whittle our health down a little bit more, we'll actually be able to proc that one skill. hopefully pretty soon. So we're at, there we go. We just passed 600. So let me go ahead and eat this food and this now that we're lower. And we're at 554. We're at 641 armor now. So we keep going back and forth between the line of not having enough health and then having too much health for that skill to proc. So 641 armor. That is insane. But even without having the low health and all that stuff, you are still at like 500, 550 armor with just this build right here. Let me see if I can make it back home without Glurch going after me. There we go. So that is just the main armor you need. If you don't have the food, that's fine. You'll still have quite a bit of armor. So we have 641 right here. It keeps going back and forth based on some of our buffs there. And then that food I ate also gave me some thorn damage, so that's why I was doing some damage to the boss. But that is what you need for an armor build. And like I said, if you don't have some of the end game stuff, that's completely fine. You can craft the stone skin potion very easily. A lot of foods are pretty easy to make, like the bomb pepper and like the heartberry. That'll give you some movement speed. If you don't have the sea urchin, I think the steel urchin is like one of the very few that actually gives you armor. So that is something harder that you're going to have to obtain. But even without that, if you use scarlet armor, these two ring of rocks, and then try to get the polished version of the iron chunk and necklace, you'll be sitting at like 375 armor. Make sure you reinforce your stuff. And yeah, that's about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Having that much will actually help you out an insane amount. And I also forgot, if I went ahead and popped this stone, what's it called again? The stone skin potion. We're actually going to run up there to the boss. And I want to show you, if you actually use the shield that I have equipped, he does like little to no damage to you. So we're at 428 health. We're at 426, and he's hitting us over and over. And he's just doing like 3 to 4 health while using this armor build and using the toxic defender. So make sure you hold down space for that to actually work. And yeah, so that's about it, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, or you learned something, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next one.